Howdy folks, greetings. So those of you that watch the channel often know that I visited Krakow last week in Poland. Krakow, absolutely incredible city. Now one of my favourite European cities. The Poles, they know how to run a country. Beautiful, clean, safe. There appears to be no homeless population over there at all. The Poles themselves are some of the most friendliest people I've encountered in Europe. It's cheap for the British tourist, amazing food, drink, architecture completely untouched from the Second World War. So beautiful ancient architecture, the castle. It's an incredible city. I recommend anyone to go. But while I was there, I visited Auschwitz. Now, I'd done a video previously. I didn't really know how to feel about going to Auschwitz. It's somewhere I wanted to go, but it's not really somewhere that you get excited about visiting. So I want to do this video today as a little bit of information for anyone that's thinking of going, what to expect, and what to expect on how you feel once you come back, which is the main thing that I want to talk about, really. There's many ways you can visit Auschwitz. We got a tour. You can just buy tickets, go in, walk around as yourself, but we got a tour, which I do strongly recommend. If you're thinking of visiting Krakow and thinking of going to Auschwitz, I recommend my sister. I'm going to put my sister's details down below. She's a travel agent. She can sort out all of this for you, because we got a tour. And the tour guide was absolutely incredible. I mean, he done everything. He picked us up from the hotel. He showed us a video information on the way there. And he done the tour around Auschwitz and drove us back afterwards. And he was incredible. He had an incredible skill of being, I mean, basically you're in for 2 hours of listening to some of the most horrific and horrendous events that have ever happened in the 20th century. And he had this way of doing it that was just incredibly informative. Without just being crushingly depressing. It's a hard thing to describe, but he was very, very good, very good. And, you know, he felt it was his honour to share this story. You know, you can imagine doing that job every single day, touring around Auschwitz, describing these horrific events. But, you know, he saw it as his duty and his honour to share these events. And, you know, I really liked that. So, yeah, I recommend going through this tour guide. I really do. I'm not going to go in too much detail. You tour Auschwitz and then you go to the second part, Birkenau, which is the labour camps. We all have heard the horrors of the Holocaust. You know, we've all seen Schindler's List. We've all, you know, especially me, I'm a huge history buff, so I know a lot of detail about the Holocaust, and especially the Nazis during the Second World War. It's a popular thing for people to watch. I mean, Jesus Christ, the History Channel is pretty much all about it. We've all heard these horrors. We've all heard the events that went on. But I think it truly does bring it to a different dimension when you actually visit Auschwitz, when you actually walk the path. One of the most harrowing... Auschwitz in itself is horrific, especially when you go down to some... You visit the experiment rooms, you visit the torture rooms, the prison inside a prison. If Auschwitz weren't horrific enough, you know, some of those things are horrific. But I think Birkenau, the labour camps, where you actually walk the path where the trains turn up, you walk the path where elderly and children were sent straight to the end of the path to go directly to the gas chambers, and working people, working females and males were sent left and right to go to the labour camps. And when you actually walk that path that millions of people have walked, and when you actually go into the gas chamber in Auschwitz where millions of people have died, it takes it to another dimension, and it really, really does ingrain it properly, the actually harrowing events of the Holocaust. It really does. One of the things that will always stick with me is when you actually go and visit one of the huts in the labour camp where 1,000 women were crammed in for forced labour. They have these like 3-tier bunk beds. And one thing the tour guide said to me that always sticks with me is that the way they'd arranged, because no one wants the bottom bunk here. You got rats that are going to be chewing at you. The top bunk is the way forward, and the way that they arranged how people were stacked in these beds is by your number. So how long you've served. If you've been here longer, you get priority at the top. If you're newer, you get the bottom. And it really stuck with me, because it kind of shows that although the Nazis treated the Jews as vermin, as animals, you know, pent them up in these huts like vermin, subhuman. In that essence, they showed them that then they're not. You know, in that situation, it's so easy to turn to turmoil and fight, survival for the fittest and fighting each other. But they put discipline and order and humanity in that situation. They prove that they're not vermin. But yeah, it's a truly horrifying experience. But I think it's something that everyone should do. I really do. And what to expect afterwards, I mean, it's been a week now, and it still stays with me. I think about it every day. I do. I mean, the only thing that I can kind of relate it to, if you see like a sort of horrifying movie or something that stays with you for a couple of days, you keep thinking about it. I mean, times that to 10 when you visit Auschwitz. You know, it's a week on now. I'm still thinking about it regularly, and it's really stayed with me. But it's so important. It's so important, and especially, you know, because it really wasn't that long ago. There's still survivors out there now that are still alive. One in particular, Kitty, I saw a show of her, for an interview with her in the 80s when she went back to Auschwitz. After Auschwitz, she came and lived in Birmingham, England. And, you know, I recommend that video. I'll put that down below. Horrific. But it's still completely relevant today. And this is why it's so important. And I think if you actually visit Auschwitz, it really brings it home even more. You still have Holocaust deniers out there. The insanity of Holocaust denial. And, you know, you still have... It's the purest vision of what happens when a minority is persecuted in a country. And we're seeing this. We're seeing the rise of the far right in Europe. We're seeing it in our own country here in the UK. And especially when you still have people like this guy, Benjamin Dade, on a prime time YouTube political channel that has, you know, over 300,000 subscribers. Lots of people view this on YouTube. And you have this guy that advocated for the deportation of every single immigrant that came to the UK since '97. Disgusting opinions like this that anyone on YouTube can access at any single time. And, you know, this is why this is still prevalent. There's still people out there that have shocking views. And this is always the biggest question about the Holocaust and the Nazis, isn't it? How could this happen? How could a country like Germany, you know, advance with educated people, actually go down this road? And the other thing that's so horrifying about the Holocaust, when you compare it to other atrocities in the 20th century, and of course there was loads, you know, we know that more people died during in the Gulag camps in Russia and under Mao, you know, millions and millions of deaths. But these were dictators trying to find a political ideology. I think what sets the Holocaust apart is this was just a pure extermination of a race. This was just a pure strategy to eradicate a certain race from the planet. I think that's what makes it unique. And the other thing that makes the Nazis unique, and why it's still so prevalent today, is they got in by democratic means. Russia, it's revolution, it's violence that get these people to the top, but the Nazis were voted in by the German public, and that's what makes it so relevant today, because we can vote these people in again. And, you know, the big question is how could the Nazis turn the population against the Jews like this? You know, I know that a lot of the German public didn't know the full extent of the Holocaust, but they saw at the start of Hitler's reign, Jews being kicked out on the streets, Jews being kicked out of their businesses, from their homes, rounded up. But I guess by that point it was too late. And if you speak out, you're on the train to Auschwitz with them. It's yeah, it's incredibly harrowing. It's incredibly it's really hard to describe, but it's an experience that I recommend everyone do, because it really makes you fully understand the horrors of the Holocaust, and how we can never ever let anything like that happen again. And like I say, when we've got the rise of the far right in Europe at the moment, and the persecution of minorities, which is happening with the riots that we had in the UK of people trying to burn down hotels where Muslims are, and people like this Benjamin Dade that are being viewed on YouTube every single day by thousands of people. I think it's very important to keep these messages alive. So that's all I got to say on the topic, guys. Do you feel the same? Have you visited Auschwitz? Are you thinking about visiting Auschwitz? Are you put off by visiting Auschwitz? I really think it's important to go if you really want to. And also, you got the luxury of Krakow being an incredible city to go visit as well. So, you know, you've got the best of both worlds. But yeah, it definitely stays with you. That would be my message. You know, just be prepared that you could, you know, for a week afterwards still be thinking about this. And it's, you know, it's not like it's sending me into depression or anxiety or messing with my mental health or anything like that. It just stays with you, and you think about it pretty much every day for a good week afterwards. So be prepared for that. Anyway, till next time, take care.